Hey, cool. Looks like you successfully registered. Awesome. In a couple minutes in this little video window here, I'm going to play a live stage presentation I did for about 4,000 people, just so you'll have something cool to watch before your class officially begins. But for now, before I stream that for you, I want to talk about what's going to go on this webinar that you've registered for, because this is really cool. This is a good one. So see these screenshots here? This is revenue for April of 2020. Here's the gross revenue there, 550 something, and here's May, we did 515. Here's June, we did 541. It's awesome. Really happy about that. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because, look, I know there's a lot of stuff out there. I know you've seen a lot of webinars, and I just want you to know I really do what I'm showing you in the training that you've registered for. So the training that you've registered for is, of course, all about how to make your ads work without risking a fortune. And the reason I'm sharing these screenshots with you is this revenue that you see for all of these months, they're largely because of one campaign that I created, and it's the campaign I'm going to share with you in the class. And on the very first day that I created that campaign in April, I only spent $1.88. So what you're going to discover in the class is really, really effective, and it's really ringing true in terms of the promise I'm making to you, which is, hey, I'm going to show you how to do this by starting small and by not really risking a lot at all, actually. So I think you're going to like it. So you'll see a countdown timer on this page somewhere. That'll show you how long you have until the class that you register for is going to begin. What I'm going to do now is just splice in a stage presentation that I did a few months ago for about 4,000 entrepreneurs like you who also want to grow their businesses online. And in this presentation, I share all kinds of cool stuff about how to increase your sales. And I'm just putting it here because I want to. And I think you'll enjoy it. And I think it'll help you. And it's something cool to watch before the official class begins. So without further ado, enjoy.
How y'all doing? Nice to see you too. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm supposed to do more than stand here and say thanks. Okay. Gosh. I can't see any of y'all. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. There you are. Hey, y'all. All right. What's happening? Okay, let's see. We got to put the disclaimer up, all right? This is pretty serious. It's very important. Y'all got the disclaimer ready? I can just do it by memory. Okay, there it is. All right. Now, it's important that everybody fully understands the situation at hand. I'm going to talk about selling things on the intranet. I might talk about ways to increase sales in your business. I might slip up and say that I've sold a lot of stuff. My results are not typical. The statement about me being completely insane is 100% accurate. I actually have honest-to-God brain damage and am drinking right now as I deliver this speech to you. Nobody in their right mind should listen to me under any circumstances for any reason at any time ever. All right. So I've already used up 3 minutes and 20 seconds of my allotted 28 minutes. I better get to work here and better get jiggy with it. All right, so I'm going to try to condense 20 years into however long we got here. We'll be making a lot of generalizations, thus the disclaimers, etc. So thing number one, we all kind of look alike as marketers. And here's what I mean by this. If you go to the Facebooks, or to the Instagrams, or even to your YouTubes, and you start looking at everybody's posts, you'll notice they all kind of blend together. They got the big headline, the talking head, and then the subtitles and stuff. And sometimes there's some graphics in there. Can you dig it? You seen it? They all look together, right? So what's happening right now is the world is becoming blind to our kind. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did. How about that? That's the only time I'm going to say something cool and get away with it like that. So here's the deal. I was messing around. I was doing a little bit of research, and the advertising agency Ogilvy and Mather made this discovery, and they called it something like influencer blindness. And they had this big, long series of tests and everything. And they found out that hot diggity, everybody looks exactly like in terms of the content presented. And they even did this slide in their presentation. You can actually, if you go to your Google machine there and type in Ogilvy and Mather slide share, you'll find it. But they had a slide in the presentation where they had all these different influencer posts, and it said, can you spot the difference between these posts? And quite frankly, the answer was no, right? It was not. You couldn't spot it. So the question used to be like, how can I get attention? And now the question is not only how can I get attention, but how can I stand out and be different? So I'll tell you a secret, quote unquote, this worked extremely well for me 20 years running. Number one, and again, see disclaimer, all right? So this is my personal experience. No one's going to make any money under any circumstances ever. There is a 100% mortality rate among people who listen to me, all right? So this is true. That is factually accurate, okay? In my opinion, in my experience, our income is directly proportional to the amount of goodwill that we've got with our audience. All right, so if you take nothing from me, take that. So the way this ties back to you selling more stuff on the intranet is this. There are two sides of internet marketing. There is before the line, I'm going to spell it properly, before, and then there's behind the line. I'm just going to say BH. Before the line is defined as all the stuff they see before they enter your funnel, before they opt in, before they're in your email sequence and all of that kind of stuff. Now, it used to be that the way to win here, right, because this is where everybody kind of focuses, right? The way to win here behind the line was to make bigger promises, right? I'm going to show you how to get rich in 24 hours. Well, I'm going to show you how to get rich in 23. What was the thing about Mary? Why have 7-minute abs when you can have 6-minute abs or whatever? It was like that, right? So it was louder and louder. It was A, it started, let's make bigger promises. B, let's get louder. So what's happening now is you have so many people here behind the line thinking that the way they're going to differentiate and stand out in a marketplace is to make bigger and bigger claims and bigger promises. Now, you've probably noticed an unusual amount of disclaimers going on over here. The reason why is you ain't supposed to do that, right? You cannot just go out and blanketly make gigantic promises unless the average consumer who buys your stuff actually achieves the result that you're promising. So if we take that into effect, the question now becomes, well, if I'm not supposed to do that, right? Assuming that every single person who buys your stuff doesn't get the result in the giant promise, which is typically reality, then how do you differentiate? And the answer is what you do before the line, all right? So earlier I said we all look the same to the consumer, right? That I call it influencer blindness. You just go and look at anybody's Instagram feed and they all look the same. Big headline, talking head, semi-motivational. What is it called? Subtitles, transcripts, whatever, the little words at the bottom and stuff like that, you know. Everything looks the same. So thing number one, look different. Thing number two is everything you ever put out should do these things. Number one, it should be about them, your audience, all right? Once you realize this, that every single thing you do in your business is about your consumer and with the intention to better their lives dramatically. Once you realize this, an enormous amount of pressure can be taken off of you because it means you don't have to look cool, right? So if you're ever worried about, oh man, this dude's got a Lamborghini, I gotta go get a Lamborghini now. Nobody cares about the stupid Lamborghini, right? All they care about is, can this person help me? So that's thing number one. Everything you do before the line, this means the content, the ads, and all that kind of stuff, it needs to be about them, and the subset is what they want and how they get it. All right, number two, you need to very deliberately build goodwill. The way you create this, now keep in mind, this is before the line, meaning they have yet to go to your website, right? The way you build this goodwill is here, by showing them in your advertising how to actually get what they want, right? Like, nobody really cares about our life stories. We are not fascinating to anyone really other than ourselves. Everybody is interested in themselves, and once we take that as fact, which it is, we can then use it in our marketing. The third thing we need to do is make offers. All right, so if your ad generates goodwill by teaching your prospects how to get what they want while simultaneously making offers, which is now sending them to the behind the line part of the deal, chances are you ain't got to make no claims at all. You can come out on stage and say, listen, you should not be listening to me under any circumstance whatsoever. None of what I'm going to tell you is going to be helpful. You would be better off at home. You'll probably be worse than you were before you started hearing me. And you can actually come out and say that, and people will still listen to you because of the amount of goodwill that you have generated. So obviously my disclaimer is meant to be in fun, but I did it to illustrate that point. There's a movie that caused me to start seeing how far I could push the envelope with what could best be described as radically and obnoxiously transparent marketing. And it's a movie called Crazy People, starring Dudley Moore. Has anyone seen that by any chance? It's like 4 people. That's amazing. That's a great movie, by the way. If you're an advertising person like me, watch the movie. I'll summarize it for you real fast. Dudley Moore's an ad executive. He goes crazy and becomes incapable of misleading consumers. So he starts writing these ads that are blatantly and brutally honest. And one of my favorites was Volvo. They're boxy, but safe. And another one was something like, I forgot what it was. It was an ad for Britain or something. It said, go to Britain, forget Paris. Nobody likes the French anyway. And then there was one, which isn't true, by the way. Paris is my favorite city in the world, so I'm with you on that one. And then there was another one for Jaguar, and it said, Jaguar, for men who want words I can't say on stage because I'm contractually obligated not to swear, from women they hardly know. Right? And so the movie goes on, and Dudley Moore's like submitting these ads to his executive committees, and they're all like, oh, you can't run this, it's never going to sell. But one of them slips into a magazine, and then the Volvo sales go through the roof, and then he's committed to an insane asylum. And then he gets the other lunatics to start writing ads as well, and none of them are capable of misleading the public, and the ads keep working. So I saw that, and I was like, I wonder if it'll work in real life. So I started, because I sell to businesses and how to increase customer retention and customer value and all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, I wonder what will happen if I begin sales pitches by saying, listen, this stuff is real hard. And most of you guys listening to this, you're not going to get any results at all. In fact, most people who buy the type of stuff I'm selling don't get any results at all. Kind of like most people who buy the gym equipment don't look like the dude in the gym equipment commercial. I don't know why that is. I mean, obviously I do. I don't know why that is. But yeah, I bought the Coors Light diet plan. It's working great. Real good. It's light. Hardly any calories. I mean, you got to drink like 16 of those things to get full 2,000 calories. So don't judge me, okay? This is all from sugar. I forgot what I was talking about now. I honestly, literally forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah. So going on to the radical transparency in advertising. So I started using that in the marketing. Like, hey, this is hard, and most people aren't going to make it, and it's just awful, really. And sales increased. And then I got, when selling consulting and higher ticket stuff such as agency services, they would say things like, and this still happens in our company, they'll say, well, what can I expect this to be like? And the answer is usually, well, you're going to go through various stages of disappointment and anger, and if you can make it through that, you'll eventually be slightly less dissatisfied than you are now. But you're never going to want to actually pay us. And it works, right? And because if you think about it, if you've ever hired an ad agency, that's exactly what the experience is. You know, at first it doesn't work because it never works at first. And then, oh, it's kind of starting to work, and then it starts working. And you're like, man, I wish I didn't have to pay these guys. And so that's just radical transparency in advertising. It works, right? But the reason it works is because of what is done here. If you don't have that bond built with your audience before they go behind the line, before they interact with your sales team or read your copy or whatever, they're going to be like this, right? You're going to be met with the level of skepticism that most consumers have, and most consumers should have, because most marketers believe that the best way to get the sale is to make an even bigger and bolder promise than the other guy, regardless of whether or not it's true, and that's a shame. But unnecessary. So this is a big secret. All right, does that make sense? I'm trying to go super fast because I got 12 minutes and 33 seconds. And they gave me 2 cocktails to drink while I'm up here, and I'm not even finished with the first one. All right, so let's talk about behind the line now, cool? It's interesting, by the way, this is a giant crowd, and I can see like barely 3 people because the lights are so bright. It's kind of awesome. It feels like I'm on a webinar. Maybe I should just, put on pajamas and stuff. It sounds great. All right, so here's the deal with most consumers. That was on purpose. That is actually the cool way to walk across the stage. I read that on a How to Walk Across the Stage and Look Cool manual. It was an ebook that Russell wrote right after the potato gun thing. And it was a good one. No idea why that would over so well. Do you have any clue why that would have gone over so well? Me neither. But hey, I'm glad you like that. All right, so we can hold this to be self-evident. Most people won't. Most people will not opt in. Most of the people who opt in will not open the email. Most of the people who open the email will not click. Most of the people who click will not click the order form. Most of the people who fill step 1 of the order form out will not complete the order. Most people won't. That is normal, right? If most people did, our conversion rates would be over 51%, and we would be the most brilliant people in the history of marketing. They would have gold statues of us made and put on Madison Avenue, right? It's just normal. But for some reason, as marketers, we like to forget that and be like, I can't believe it. I had 123 clicks to the website, and nobody bought. It's the end of the world, right? Or 47 people opted in and nobody bought my thing. So let's look at where things can and will inevitably go wrong and how to fix them real quick. I think that might be helpful. Okay, so let's talk about most of you guys sell info and stuff. Is that roughly accurate? I'm trying to think of what type of funnel to use as an example. Info, okay, we'll just stick with an info funnel. All right, so you got yourself one of them ads, all right? So that's your ad. And then people opt in. Let's just say, let's say it's a book funnel, right? So there's you, smiley face, there's the buy button, and then of course you're using ClickFunnels, so you got the 2-step order form, which is awesome, and then they either buy or not, and there's OTO1, and then there's OTO2, and then there's OTO 752,000, all right? So let's just start here. Okay. So if we just look at, let's make them opt in first. All right, let's put an opt-in page here for it. If we just look at 1, 2, 3, these components right here. If your stuff isn't working right, there's only a couple things that could be going on. Either they're not clicking on the ad, A, all right, or they're not opting in, B, or they're opting in and they're not going to your sales page, C, or they're going to your sales page and they're not buying. Only possibilities, period. Right? Everyone agree? If we take this to be true, then it is no longer rational behavior for us to go, I tried it and it didn't work. No, what happened is you tried it and one of the 4 things that always go wrong did its job and went wrong. Your job is just to be like, oh, okay, which one of these things was it? So if you come over here and you discover you ain't getting no clicks on the ad, well, everything from here on out, it might not be broken. You might just need to change the copy in the ad. Pretty simple. It's called typing. We all do it, all right? No problem. Let's say you find out they're not opting in. Well, what do? Change the freaking opt-in page. In my experience, by the way, the best converting opt-in pages ever in my career have two components, a headline and a button that pops up in opt-in form. I've tested so many different variants. Don't know if it's universally like the best converter ever, but if you're having trouble getting opt-ins, try that layout. Works pretty good. Okay, I think it's called Super Simple or something in the ClickFunnels thingy. All right, so let's say, now this is where things start to go bad, all right? Let's say you're getting people to opt in and everything's great, but ain't nobody buying here. Now here's where it's really, really easy to jump to conclusions and do a lot of unnecessary work. It's natural for us to go, well, it's a sales letter. Got to redo the sales letter. Got to redo the page. Probably ClickFunnels' fault. Probably Russell. It's probably not even going. He probably switched out the Stripe account. It's probably going to his Stripe account. Because, you know, they ain't got enough money over there with the 8 billion people using this platform. I always make the joke that what they do over there is they secretly have like fights with wadded up hundreds. You know, like where normal people would have snowball fights, they're just throwing bricks of $100 bills at each other. Like, you know, that's what they do. All right, so don't you, I mean, that's probably, I would if I had that kind of money. I wouldn't be here if I had that kind of money, really. I would be just like absolutely blasted out of my mind, right? I'd be like I got ClickFunnels money. And people like, put on your pants. Tell the fat lady to put her pants on. Be like, it's just cold in here. Okay. Oh, look at there. A little inappropriate humor. I tell you what, you people should know better. Okay. Here's the deal. Before you jump to the conclusion here, you need to measure two things. Are they opening the email and are they clicking on the link in the email? If they're not, chances are ain't nothing wrong with your sales page. He hasn't switched out his Stripe account yet. Okay, you gotta watch him. Okay, but he hasn't done it yet. That just means you gotta change your subject line, change your email copy. Now let's say we got them coming here and they ain't buying. How many of you think the most important thing is gonna be the headline? Yes or no? I'm setting you up. It's obviously no, right? Otherwise, I'd be like, the most important thing is the headline. It kind of isn't. It's kind of the offer. You know why free plus shipping offers work real good? Because it's a good offer, right? Like, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying deliberately write horrible headlines. But I'm saying if the offer itself is good, then the copy doesn't necessarily have to be spectacular. So the first thing you need to check is this offer something that someone really, really wants, right? And I always use a horribly and morbidly inappropriate example, which I'll use now because I'm that kind of person, which is if I were addressing a group of prisoners that just are at the very tail end of a 20-year sentence and hadn't seen a female in over 20 years, and the thing I had to offer them was a night with Miss America or something, my copy could literally say, which one of you peckerheads wants a night with Miss America? And I think I'd get 100% conversion rate, you know? So it's not always the copy, right? A lot of times it's gonna have to be the offer, okay? So I have yet to swear, by the way. So contractually speaking, I haven't violated anything. Yeah. Was it just me, or did everybody, just between us now, did everybody have to sign the no swearing clause, or was it just me?
They're all supposed to.
It was everybody, I hope. Sure it was, yeah. There's something else in there too. And also, do you guys have mini bars in your room? No? Okay, all right. I thought for a minute, I was like, they took the damn mini bar out. And I was like, that was actually pretty smart. I would have done the same things. I couldn't blame them. Okay. So here's what you got to do with the emails, all right? And this is what can really make or break everything. So assuming the offer's good and the copy's good, number one thing I always have with my consulting clients is it always comes down to two things. They're either not making enough offers or they ain't following up enough, right? And so if I were to funnel hack everybody here, my guess would be 99.99% of people are not following up enough. So here's what you need to look at. In a follow-up sequence, all right, they opt in, they need to give you money. In the email world, there are only two types of email sequences in existence. One of them is called a click sequence. A click sequence is an email that says, hey, here's a thing, check it out. That could be, hey, here's a new book, go buy it. Or here's a video I made, go watch it. Or thank you for your purchase, go download it. That's it. It's a series of emails getting someone to click something. The second of the only two possible email sequences on the planet is called a countdown sequence. That's a deadline sequence, which is you better get this thing before the deadline expires or ISIS is going to win. All right? And by the way, that copy works great. So not that I've tested it, but they test it constantly. Okay, so let's say we're at the point of opt-in, right? And we're trying to get people to go here. And the thing what's the mechanism we should use to sell our thing? Video sales letter, okay? Most people say they've opted in and they've got a 3-day sequence saying, go watch my video. And then if the person doesn't buy the video, this is my least favorite word ever, ask my children, nurture. They go into the nurture sequence. I nurture my kids fine. I give them cigarettes when they need them and all that. You know, I'm not a bad parent, okay, and liquor when they're hungover and all that stuff. This is terrible, right? Like most people, we always remember, most people won't. Okay, so the first thing that most people won't do after they opt in is they ain't going to click on the thing that you want them to click on. I measure how many people click on the books they buy from me. I had to build a 3-day, 2 emails a day, go click on the thing you just bought sequence. So if you got to work that hard to get someone to consume the stuff that they just bought, you really got to work hard to get them to consume content. And so I'm like rambling too much. I literally have 1 minute, so I'm going to do this super fast. But don't worry, I can conceive 4 children in the span of 1 minute because I've done that before. I'm efficient, okay? So, do this instead. Phase 1, opt-in. You send them a series of emails until they click. If they click the thing and do not buy, you put them in a deadline sequence until they buy. If at any point they don't do either of these things, you put them into a new campaign that makes another offer. All of my campaigns follow this framework, every single one of them. Hey, here's the thing. Did you click it? No. Okay, here's the thing. 2 emails a day for 3 days consecutively, just to get them to click. If they click and they don't do what I want them to do, whether it's register or buy, they're in a deadline sequence. Hey, this thing's going away. And then, if they still haven't bought, they're in next. And next either sells the same thing from a different copy angle, or it sells a new thing. If you keep on bolting those structures together, you will have a big, giant super funnel that sells a lot of stuff. I'm 11, now 12 seconds overdue. Thank you all so much for having me. I appreciate it. My name is Frank. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
That's awesome.